So I have a car, but soon I might not have a license. Hey guys, it's Olivia and I'm back with another video. So, as you guys know, I have my license. I feel like that's never anything that I've said like, hey guys, I have a driver's license. But you can more or less figure that out because I have made a couple of driving videos. I'm pretty sure my fourth video ever was me driving. And I've made a video about my car. I still haven't done my car tour yet. I am about to do that soon. It's gonna come this summer, hopefully, fingers crossed. So yeah, I haven't done a car tour, but I have done videos about my car, so you guys know that I own my own car, and in order to drive said car legally, at least, you need to have a license. So I feel like that was just assumed. Olivia has her driver's license. Like, I feel like you just kind of knew that. Well, you see, I do have my driver's license. But I got a letter in the mail a couple of days ago, and I might not have a license soon, and that's what this video is about. But before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make new videos every Monday. I make anywhere from story time videos like this to pop socket videos, how to make money online videos. And with all that being said, let's get into this week's video. So, a little bit of background information. I am from Canada, specifically Ontario. So I can't speak about the other provinces because I honestly don't know. But in Ontario, you have 3 levels of licenses. So you have various licenses. You have like your car and motorcycle and truck and blah, blah, blah. But like specifically to drive a car, there are 3 levels of licenses. So you have your G1, your G2, and your G. So your G1 is the written test. And if you pass that, you now have your permit and you can drive with a licensed driver in the passenger seat. Your G2 is your road test and your G is your highway test. And even if you don't have your G, you can still drive on the highway, but you kind of need to get your G, and this is why. So you have 5 years to acquire all of these levels. So if 5 years pass from the date that you get your G1 and you do not have your G yet, then you have to start all the way back over from your G1. So let's say that you get your G1 on your 16th birthday, and then 5 years later on your 21st birthday, you still don't have your license, then you're going to be a 21-year-old who has to sit with their mom in the passenger seat because you can't legally drive by yourself. You have the skills to do so, I'm assuming, if you've been driving for the last 5 years, but legally you can't do that anymore. So basically, I have a car and my license is about to expire because I still only have my G2. So I have a car that in a couple of months I might not legally be allowed to drive anymore. So yeah, I still only have my G2. I got my G1 3 days after my 16th birthday. So my birthday is January 24th. So on January 24th, 2015 was my 16th birthday. And 3 days later on the 27th is when I did the test and I passed. Yay, permit. And then I think the first time my dad took me out driving was the day after that. So the first time I actually ever drove was the 28th of January 2015. And yes, then the way it works in Ontario, once again, I can't speak for anywhere else. The way that it works is if you don't go to driving school, then you have to wait 1 year from the date that you get your G1 to take your G2 test. If you do go to driving school, then you only have to wait 8 months. So I got my permit in January and then I did driving school in September and I got my license in November. So 10 months after getting my permit, I got my G2. So then I could drive on my own, I can drive on the highway, all this stuff. There are some restrictions, I don't know all of them. Like maybe there's like, oh, you can't drive at 4 o'clock in the morning, but like when am I ever driving at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? So there are certain restrictions between a G2 and a G, but for the most part, they are the same thing. But you can't just stop at your G2 because your G2 will expire. Yes, your G expires as in every, I believe, 5 years you have to retake the photo. But then that's like, you don't have to redo the test. You just go and take the picture so that they have an updated photo of what you currently look like, right? So But if you let like your learner's permit or like your lower levels expire, then you start all over. You have to do tests all over again. You're starting from step one. So basically that's about to happen to me because January 20th, 2020, which is kind of close, is when my G2 will expire, because that will be 5 years from the day that I got my G1. So I got this here letter in the mail from the Ministry of Transportation, and I'm going to read it to you. So, it is addressed to Henry, Olivia Grace. And it says, important notice. This is to notify you that according to ministry records, your novice class driver's license expires on the date indicated above, January 27th, 2020. You will no longer be able to drive if your novice license expires. Novice drivers, classes G1, G2, and M2, or combination, have 5 years to complete the graduated licensing program before their novice license expires. What should you do? You have until the expiry date to either take the necessary test in order to stay at your current novice class level, or take the necessary test to advance to the next class. If you do not pass the test or you choose to do nothing, you will not be able to drive after the expiry date. Please be prepared to take alternate transportation home if you fail a road test and are unqualified to drive. So, that is that letter. Kind of a long letter. I don't know if I left it all in. I might have cut some part of it out because it was kind of long for this video. But basically, that last line like hit me. Like, if I fail this test, like, I'll still be qualified to drive home because I have my G2. But it's like, it's like, oh, if you fail, you might not be able to drive again. Just letting you know. And so basically, that's that story. I had 5 years to get this done, and I got my G2, and your G2 is like the same thing as your G. So once you get your G2, you get comfortable and you're like, yo, I'm gonna just stick with my G2. And then you get this letter in the mail and it's like, ha, you might not be able to drive. You just spent money on a car for no reason because soon you won't be able to drive it. And so, yeah. So why did I wait so long? As I said, you get comfortable because you can more or less do the same things. Another reason is, like, I don't know what's going to be on the G test. I know that I'm going to have to drive on the highway, which is not a problem. I drive on the highway every single day to get to school, and it's like 45 kilometers, which I don't know how much that is in miles. I know that a lot of my viewers are American. I don't know what it is in miles. I'm Canadian. I speak metric, but it's far, like 30 plus miles. Like, it's not close. It takes over an hour to get to school. Okay. So I drive on the highway a lot, every single day to be exact. And so I know I can drive on the highway. And like, when you do your driver's test, you're gonna be on the highway for like, you're gonna pass like 2 highway exits and exit at like the 3rd one. Like, they're not gonna make you do a cross country trip for your driver's test. You know what I mean? So I'm not afraid about the highway part. This is the thing. I don't know if you have to like redo your parallel parking and stuff like that, because okay, I can park. That's not the problem. I can reverse park. I can park forward. I can uphill, downhill, whatever. It's the parallel parking. If they ever be like, hey, parallel park, I'm gonna be like, Legit, the last time I parallel parked was November 10th, 2015, aka the day of my G2 test. I haven't parallel parked in 4 years. I don't know how to parallel park. And even on my driver's test, I didn't even do really that well on the parallel parking. But that's not the point. I did well on everything else, so that's why I passed. I'm a great driver, I promise. But yeah, so literally what has kept me from doing my G test, because I've been eligible to do this test since November 10, 2016, which would have been 1 year since getting my G2. So I've been eligible to get this license for nearly 3 years. And the reason I haven't done it is because I don't know if there's parallel parking on the test. And if there is, I can't parallel park. So I know that like it would be so easy, like just go parallel park. But like you see the thing, like I could practice parallel parking, but you see the problem is if I just like pick a car and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna parallel park behind this car. What if I do it wrong and then hit that car? Like I can't be affording to pay for the damages on your car, pay for the damages on my car, make my car insurance go up. I don't have time. I can't just be parallel parking all willy-nilly. I'm not saying that I'm that bad of a parallel parker that I'm just gonna hit everything in my path, but like what if it did happen? I don't want to be parallel parking without a like professional driving instructor in the passenger seat. But then you see, if I have a driving instructor, that costs money that I don't have. So then it's like, so yeah, I did learn how to parallel park once. I did it once kind of successfully 4 years ago. But like, I literally have never attempted to parallel park since that day because I've never had to. Like, I live in Toronto, but I don't live in downtown Toronto. I live in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area. I live in the suburbs of Toronto. Everywhere you go has a regular parking spot. Like, there's nowhere close to where I live or any of the places that I frequently park where you have to parallel park. There's actually no parallel parking spots. Every spot you either go in forward or go in backwards. Like it's just a regular schmegular parking lot. Like if I'm going to the grocery store, I'm not gonna parallel park. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like the only time you have to parallel park is if you go downtown or if you're like a soccer mom and then like the soccer field is here and then everybody just has to park on the road beside the soccer field, you know what I mean? But I ain't got no kids, so I ain't going to no parks that don't have parking, you know what I mean? So there has never been a reason for me to parallel park. It's not like, oh, there's been an opportunity for me to parallel park, but I've been avoiding it for 4 years. No, like there's literally no, I have not seen a parallel parking space in 4 years. Legit, I don't have to parallel park, so I never have. And like if I never perfect the skill of parallel parking, so long as I continue to live in the suburbs, I will never have to use that skill. So however, that skill is what is potentially keeping me from being fully licensed, right? But like I don't know if I have to parallel park, and that is seriously keeping me from taking this test. Also, oh my gosh, also there are some driving test centers that are easier than others. Like, oh, if you go here, there's like a 2% chance that you're gonna pass. But if you go here, like even if you crash into 17 and a half cars, they're still gonna pass you. Like there are certain driving test centers that are easier than others. So like I went to a specific test center for my G2 that is known for passing everybody. And guess who passed? Me, right? So, ooh, hair. The reason why I want to go to an easy testing center isn't because I can't drive. I can drive. I drive every single day and my car is intact. It is exactly the same as the day that I got it, except it has more mileage because I drive a lot, because I know how to drive, right? So I'm not afraid to go to one of these hard testing centers because I don't think that I can drive. I just want to go to an easier one because then you have more of a peace of mind. Like, have you ever been behind someone who's like a timid driver and they stop for like 2 minutes at a stop sign because they're too afraid to take the left turn? Yeah, timid drivers are dangerous drivers. So I am not a timid driver. But if I'm being judged and it's like, oh my gosh, did I check my mirror every 5 seconds? Like they said, oh my gosh, did I signal? Remember to signal? Oh my God. And like you have to like, there's too much to think about. And I'm literally being judged. Like this person determines whether or not I can ever drive again. Like, there's too much pressure. So, and then you end up driving poorly because you're too in your head and you're not even focusing on what you're doing. And you kind of need to focus on driving. Driving is a thing that needs to be focused on. Like driving isn't something that you can multitask. Like, oh, I'm going to drive and read a book and be on my phone and do this and blah, blah. Like, no. When you're driving, you drive. You know what I mean? So I don't want my mind to be racing while I'm trying to focus on driving. So if I go to an easy driving test center, then I have this ease of mind, so then I can focus on driving, and then I'm going to drive well, and I'm going to get my license. Not just because it's an easy test center, but because I'm going to drive well because I am at ease. So you might be wondering, why don't I just go to the same test center that I went to get my G2? Well, I know that driving test center is known for passing pretty much everybody for their G2, but I don't know what they're known for as for their G. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's another thing. These are the two things that are keeping me from getting my license. Potential parallel parking, which I don't know if I have to do because I already did it on the first test, and I need to pick the right test center so that I can have ease of mind and then just do my thing and drive my car. Ooh, another thing. I just thought of a third one. Something that almost prevented me from taking my test. So this isn't a problem anymore, but it kind of was. So the car that I currently have is my dad's old car, and he gave it to me for my 20th birthday back in January. So at one point, this car was not drivable. Like, the transmission went and I had to pay for it to get fixed, blah, blah, blah. I put a lot of money into this car. This is a 10-year-old car, and the amount of money I put into it, I'm not even going to tell you because it's too high of a number. If I told you, you'd be like, why didn't you just, like, use that money and buy a different car that isn't broken? The reason why I put so much money into this car is because my dad got this car that is now mine, like, when I turned 16. Like, that is one of the first cars I ever drove. And so I have been driving that car for the past 4 years. I am very familiar with this car. I know this car. I could probably drive this car with my eyes closed. I wouldn't, but I probably could, right? So I didn't want to do my driver's test in a car that I wasn't familiar with. Like, my dad now has a new car since giving me his old one. And while I have driven that car enough times, it's not the car that I'm most familiar with. So if I'm going to do this test that I'm going to be nervous about, because tests make me nervous in general. So since I'm going to be doing this test and I'm all about the peace of mind so that I can drive well, I wanted to drive in the car that I was the most familiar with. So I put a bunch of money into this car to get it back on the road again, and yay, it's back on the road again. So while that car was out of commission for like 2 or 3 months, I was like, well, can't do my test now because the car that I want to do my test in isn't working. So basically, I've just been making excuses for the past nearly 5 years. And now I can't make any more excuses because I got an official letter from the government and I need to get my license. So as I said, my license doesn't expire till January, but I don't want to do my driver's test in January because when I did my G2 test, I did it in November and it was raining, and like, I live in Canada, and if I do my driver's test in January, it's 9 times out of 10 going to be snowing, and there's going to be ice, and there's the potential to skid. I don't want to interact with the elements because, once again, we're all about peace of mind. I want it to be a sunny day. I want to be driving a car that I am familiar with. I want to have an examiner that's going to most likely pass me simply for showing up. That's what I need, and that's what I'm gonna get. So yeah, I have to sign up for my test because your tests are usually like a month out. Like, if I sign up today, I'm probably not gonna get a test till September. So I'm not trying to wait till October and then I like book a date for November and then it's raining and snowing and all this stuff because this is Canada and it's raining and snowing all the time. So I want to do it like within the next month. So this is my plan. This is my plan. Oh my gosh, I'm like so adulting right now. I've made a plan. My plan is to do like one like practice drive with an instructor and just brush up on my stuff. And if that driving instructor says that I'm ready to go, then I'm gonna come home and book my test. And then I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna pass, hopefully, and then we don't have to worry about my license expiring and I will continue to be able to drive my car. So yeah, that's that story about me still not having my license, but will hopefully be getting it soon. I'm licensed, but not fully licensed and all this confusingness. But yeah, I am not fully licensed, even though I drive every day, and I need to be by January 27th. So that's all for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you think your friends will enjoy it, be sure to share it with them. All my social media links will be down below in case you want to follow me on there. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make new videos every Monday, and I'll see you next Monday with a new video.